When the supermarket distrusts you so much that they've got monitoring in the meat department, is that a kielbasa or are you excited to see me? Unbelievable the times we live in.
5 shoppers will soon be joined by a security guard in the aisles at Hy-Vee grocery stores. Starting next year, the security teams will be in stores across the company's 8-state region. South Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin will see them first. And right now, there's no word when they would be in metro stores. Each store's guard will walk in the aisles with customers and not just post up at the store's entrance.
Welcome back. Now we'll have security guards that follow us around in the bread aisle, the milk aisle. And don't forget to pick up your eggs, as he reminds you as he holsters his weapon. It's another day in a beautiful neighborhood of when the citizens of this decaying financial system ends up becoming the victims of the system. And we're paying for it by 1,000 cuts. And this is one of them. Put away the smiles you see and the false statements that this is for security. These people don't know business. And those who type this is for security don't know business either. The more security you have, the more constricting it is on the flow of cash into your business. Because now your business starts to look at people not as customers, but as potential enemies. And when that happens, the good along with the bad players gets swallowed up.
Because there's tremendous danger in too much security.
This isn't a question of whether we need security or not. Of course, there's security that is necessary, but it should be done within reason, and it shouldn't be to the point where it is extreme. The question we should be asking is, why is this abnormality happening? Why is it all of a sudden that the shoplifting, the theft have increased so dramatically? Well, then you have to look at the data. I'm not going to destroy all my cattle because they're sick, or they all of a sudden start running across to my neighbor's fence. What am I going to look at? I'm going to look at what they're eating. If I have no grass for them to eat, the problem is not my cattle, but what I'm feeding them. I have nothing to feed them, so they're desperate. They're going to run across to my neighbor's field to eat. Is this abnormal? No, this is normal for what they're doing. Do I want them to do this? No. So what do I have to do? Do I put up bigger fences, more security, make sure the fences have electricity, have turrets on it to keep my cattle in? Or do I look at the ground and say, my basis, my foundation, the grass that they're feeding on needs to be better. It needs to grow. It needs to be more fertile. That's where the question should be. If you pull back the curtain to the problem, you see what it is. Shoplifters point to inflation as being the reason why we see this rapid increase in theft, especially at grocery stores. Well, we look at what LendingTree did. LendingTree did a poll of 2,000 people, and they found out that 90% of them said because of inflation is why they were stealing. It says, because it goes on to say, prices becoming unreasonably high and unaffordable for the basic needs and goods. You can say that they will say anything. They're thieves. Of course they're going to say it's for economic reasons. Well, I would believe you if that's the only data I looked at. But as a CEO, I look at multiple data points, and they're all pointing to the same reason, economic hardship. How do I know? Well, according to this data that we have here, talking about homes. All we have to do is look at the data from this article. Home price income ratio. A medium-sized home is nearly 6 times higher than the average family income, putting enormous pressure on the average family. The homes have went up over 423% since 1950. What that means is they have risen, but wages have not kept up to pace. So that is a minus on a family, causing more problems. But it gets better. Car payments, or the car prices, have also outpaced the average family income. So all that energy, that negative energy, is put on the backs of family. So what do they do when they are put in that kind of hardship? Well, when you put something under a squeeze pressure, it's going to escape in any way it can. And one of those ways, of course, is theft. To understand how bad it is now, you have to have a perspective of how it was. And what better way is to take a trip back in time to see how things have gotten so bad.
The housewife may buy quantities which are not economical for her family. Here are two different size cans of the same product. The small can contains 16 ounces and costs 12 cents, or 75/100ths of a cent per ounce. The large can contains 31 ounces and costs only 22 cents, which is 71/100ths of a cent per ounce. Which shall she buy?
A can of beans, 22 cents. But fast forward today, in today's economic disaster, we have that same size can of beans that now cost $5.63. That means you could take this one can and buy more than 25 of those previous cans. That is how far we have fallen. It doesn't get any worse than this, because this isn't a fairy tale. In the past, a man could work at a grocery store in the 1950s. On one income, he could support his family. He could buy a car. He can send his kids to college on just one income. And don't forget, he can go on vacation and have savings. But this is what you're left with now. You have the leftovers. Just because you've gotten accustomed to it doesn't make it any better. But this brings us back to why theft is so high. Yes, it's wrong, but it has a catalyst to it, the economic imbalance of the system. The thing is, I don't blame any company for adding extra security, because they're trying to deal with a problem that they themselves can't control. It's a snowball effect. But adding security to a store has issues, and plus, it's an easy fix. But the problem is, extra security comes with extra issues. And one of them is the appearance of your store. Here's an article from, no less, Fox, talking about how stores appear now, grocery stores. There's two forms of economics. There are physical economics, there's psychological economics. And this puts enormous pressure on your business. This article talks about it. It says the psychological effect is that your store doesn't look inviting to families as it was. Instead, it feels like a prison. Why? You have armed security guards walking down the bread aisle. The effects of it, the optics of it, is destroying your business from the inside. Good security is all right, but too much security now constrains profit coming into your door. It ends up destroying you from the inside, because now you are stuck in a loop of putting your customers in a predicament where they look like they are potential enemies rather than profit coming in the door. You might say, Mr. Smiles, these guys are criminals. They're stealing from your bottom line. You're a profit purist. You should understand. I do understand. And because I'm a profit purist, I put my customers' needs ahead over everything, because my profit comes first. If I see an abnormality of theft, there's something else happening here that is above normal. And what is that? Well, you only have to look at the housing prices, the car prices, the grocery prices, the economic instability to understand that this is putting a burden on my bottom line, which is the customers, which I protect dearest because they are my profit. So I don't immediately throw them under the bus, because many of them, most of them, are facing economic issues that are beyond their control.
What's that you say? You want to recant your wish, the same wish that you made for that magical printing press, the one where you can print as much money as you want? You want to take that wish back. Infeasible. It cannot be done. I told you, once a wish is made, it can never be undone. What's wrong? You don't like the effects of your printing press? I thought it would be all fun and games for you. Oh, no. There is no tears. I mean, the consequences, they're small things. You mean they're big things? Really? You mean the fact is that inflation is out of control? You put so much enormous debt on your children that you sacrifice them to the debt. There's so much homeless and obesity that now home prices are out of touch for the average person. Don't worry so much. You need to be like me. I'm happy you made the wish. Here, come closer. I have a secret to tell you. I'm sure everything will work out. I'm sure it's all going to work in your favor. You just need to believe in the wish. I promise you, the outcome will be more than you bargained for.